Y'all, wagwan, tis your boy, Jidon, Legendary. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, that like button, that notification bell. Check out all the links in the description. You might find something you might like. As y'all might know, I recently released a video teaching people how to get the best gear for the level 11 warrior, best in slot and all that. And in that video, I told people to grab 2 hate bringers. The video did incredible, 90% like rate and all that analytical stuff, but that's not what you're here for. There's always those couple of people who feel that you don't know what you're talking about, even if you know exactly what the fuck you're talking about, right? So the reason why I told people to get 2 hate bringers is because they're great stat sticks and they're very easy to get when you put on your legacy loot rules, right? Well, there was people who were like, oh, you told people the wrong thing. I left a pinned comment. I know not everybody's going to see a pinned comment because not everybody goes to the comments, but it was there. And for the people who were, those people who were doing that much typing, they should have saw that, right? And what they were saying is you should have the highest DPS weapons. The problem with stacking DPS at level 11 is everything dies too dang fast. Raw damage is what you should be looking for. So today I have a few weapons here that I want to show y'all. Alright, and we're going to talk about. So it's going to be kind of a long one, so sit back, you know what I mean? Write some things down if you need to. Okay, so first off, we're starting off with the theory of the wave slicer. The wave slicer is what these people kept talking about over and over. You should have the wave slicer, wave slicer, wave slicer. When the truth is, every axe at level 11 has more DPS than every sword, every hammer. Every hammer has the best damage ratio of 14 to 19. Every staff has the best DPS and damage ratio of 4.7 and damage ratio of 14 to 20, which is even better than the hammer. And every sword is a sword. It has its general basic run-of-the-mill stats. Now here's the thing. The wave slicer is not the best axe. Okay, the best axes, as a matter of fact, come from Wrath Lynch King. Halls of Lightning, the Colossal Skull-clad Cleaver. You could pick up 2 of these if you want. 13 big haste. But if you want something more well-rounded, then that's going to be Igvar's joint. 9 haste, 4 versatility. At this level, realistically, the only stats that matter is haste and versatility. Haste increases your raw damage and the damage of your life stealing. Or not haste, versatility. Haste decreases your global cooldown, which in return gives you more DPS. The problem with stacking raw DPS is, like any dang thing, DPS is only useful on stuff that has a lot of health. Majority of the things you're fighting at level freaking 11 ain't got a lot of health. So what I was telling people was go with the rune blade and a hate bringer in your offhand. But these couple of people were adamant on you gotta have the best DPS weapons, you gotta have the best DPS. And it's just not realistic. When you're constantly fighting large groups, raw damage is the thing you need. Okay, so let me show you some stuff, right? When I put on my raw damage joints, we have a 76, 83, 162 with battle shout. Let me take the well-fed buff off. Let me just take battle shout off. 72, 79, 154, 33.35 DPS. Okay? Which has given us a whopping 448 on our Bloodthirst, 108 on our Whirlwind, and 408 on our Lightning Bolt. Okay? Now when we put on the top DPS stuff, right? As you can see, damage drops considerably. 66, 75, 147. Hold up. So you just gonna watch this many minutes of the video and you ain't even gonna hit the subscribe button? That's crazy to me. Subscribe right now, man. Let's get back into the video. However, our DPS goes up a little bit. So that's pretty good, right? Bloodthirst drops a whole 30 damage and Whirlwind drops 5 damage, which is quite a bit when you're talking about being able to hit more than 5 targets. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you the difference and what it looks like to be having these high DPS weapons we're gonna be just melee swinging. I'm gonna take off the trinkets, take off the neck piece so we don't get mark of hidden satyr. It'll only be melee damage and life stealing damage. With that being said, let me go ahead and show you what that looks like. 6. This should be the DPS proof. The DPS should be better on these two. But then I'm going to show you some other stuff I did. Dungeon testing, where, you know, DPS. Showing you what is doing the most damage in the shortest amount of time. Alright, so boom. To 3,000 damage, mostly coming from melee. Alright, we're looking at 42 DPS, which is about expected of these two. That extra DPS is going to come from life stealing with that extra 17%. So if I had to take a guess and say remove the life stealing, probably about what it says. Somewhere around 29 to 30 DPS. Now let us switch over to the high DPS weapons. And let me show you what that looks like real quick. Legendary. Alright, so boom. When you're just swinging them, much big DPS difference, as expected. These are two great DPS weapons. They have 4.7 apiece instead of the usual 4.6. So, boom, noticeable difference when you're just regularly swinging. Okay, now, let me go ahead and show you a couple of clips real quick of when you're in an actual dungeon situation. And the sheer damage and DPS output difference between high DPS weapons and raw power weapons. This is the gear for high DPS. Okay, everything that I'm rocking right here. Axe of the Nexus Kings and Wave Slicer for 4.7. This is the gear for the high damage. Everything is all that I'm rocking. Blade main, Hatebringer in the off, Ram, Steen, Mark of Dog Rule. Alright, so now we're on a single target dummy, and I want to swing and fight this thing as if we would normally be, with no differences. Okay, so what I would typically do when I'm entering a dungeon, heroic, whatever the heck this is called, giant growth for 4 extra strength, and then some cheese curds for an extra 2 haste, which will bring our global cooldown down by a tiny bit.
know I'm cashing out, bitch, I'm a real cash dummy. Couple stacks you yapping about, bitch, that is not real money. This pack you tapping out, JoJo got to run it. I'm on top, I'm captain now. Now yo ho wanna bust it, bust it. Nigga,
Alright, so boom, I accidentally did 32, so we're gonna do 32 for the high DPS. Now, if the single target damage is better, I won't be too surprised. But we got 316 out of 32,000. Alright, that's all these different abilities hitting. I freaking love this trinket. It's a healthy trinket, especially when you're in group situations. Okay, now let's try the high DPS weapons.
white bitch, she a real slow bunny. All my bitches gotta have some fucking. Whole lot of whole money and some dough money. Ain't no money like real whole money.
Alright, so boom. So to no surprise, the DPS weapons are better when attacking a single target. The problem is, folks, that majority of your time in a dungeon isn't going to be a single target. However, what I am getting out of this is you could min-max while fighting bosses. It was actually kind of a win-win in a way. Get better DPS overall with these two, but on the bosses you get better DPS with the faster ones. So I guess what I'm saying here today, folks, is Runeblade and the Hatebringer is the big dog when it comes to the overall dungeon. However, because you can swap weapons in the middle of battle, you can do something like this, you know what I'm saying, turn that to boss, put where's the Nexus axe, there it goes, slap these on, dungeon, put that right there, and then go ahead, put these right here, and blow. Now, before you get to a boss, you can switch up your weapons, because you can switch weapons while fighting. Now, let's do another test here. Let's go ahead and in a solid state, let's do the same thing, about 30,000 damage, but on multiple NPCs with both weapons. Okay, so for this test now, we're going to do a full run of stockades with both the power weapons, then the DPS weapons. As you can see, no gear changes. Only thing I'm going to be putting on is Battle Shout. That's it. Alright, 320 in stockades with our high DPS weapons. That is a grand total of 31,564 damage. Total maxing out at life stealing, and then whirlwind, and then bloodthirst, and whirlwind offhand. And then actual melee, 7.3. Now we switch on over to the high damage. I messed up at the end there. I forgot to interrupt Hogger, but even then, we still got 346 total. So that's about the same as it's been even with the shorter runs. And there you go, folks. That is all the information I have for y'all. Now, of course, I know this all really only matters if you're actually trying to help people and not just sprinting to the end as fast as you possibly can, which wastes the time of all the level 80s you're going to be paired with, which is just as common as all the low levels. You know, if you sprint too far and people are too far away, what happens is they don't get rewarded. People are trying to get their great vault rewards and they got to deal with a level 11 that just sprinted all the way to the end for realistically no reason. You know, it's just you're on the level 11. Obviously, you know your character is by far the most powerful in that dungeon. there's no competition. The whole point is, you know, helping folks out and whatnot. But I guess, you know, that depends on the person. So if you're actually trying to help people out, then this is the way to go. Raw power. And like I said, you really can swap the two around. If you're on a boss, swap to the other weapons. If you're not, stick with the what's the names. You know what I'm saying? So it really depends on what you're trying to do. For me personally, I like to help people out, so I prefer the raw power because I can clear groups faster. I tank how you should be tanking. So for me, the raw power is better because it holds threat a whole lot better. There's no NPCs that are gonna fall off and kill group members while I'm sprinting all the way to the end for no dang reason. With that being said, folks, it has been your boy Jeton Legendary. If you enjoyed this video, that's good. If you didn't enjoy this video, that's good. Either way, you watched it. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, notification bell, share it to people who join Legendary Clan Sports and become legendary. Hit that subscribe button. Check out all the links in the description. You might find something you might like. I'm about to go run some Utgard, so y'all definitely about to see some Wrath Lynch King time walking. Because I'm gonna mess around and grab 2 of these because I actually learned something new today as well. The DPS for single targeting is quite a bit better, so I want 2 of the best. So when we come to fighting single targets, I can smack them down just a bit faster. I'm out.